All right, we are trying something different today where we are trying to do this broadcast actually from our computer onto Facebook. I'm not even sure if it's working. So I am going to go and check out if this is working. But what we wanted to talk to you guys about today is how we afford full-time family travel.
Money, 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 money.
Money. So people do ask us all the time how we can afford to live this lifestyle. So first thing that I do want to share with you guys is that we are not independently wealthy
No,
by any means.
we got nothing.
No. So I know there's stories out there about, people that, sold an app for $50 million or did this or did that before they hit the road. Yeah, not our situation at all.
No.
So instead, we just came from a regular, typical middle-class American family where, Craig had a job, a 9 to 5. I was stay-at-home mom, and we had debt. We had credit card debt. We had a mortgage, obviously, things like that. But when we made the decision to move to this lifestyle, we started to figure out different things that we could do to help us afford it and live a life of even more freedom than what we had when Craig was working remote in a 9 to 5 job.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is our goal has never been to be millionaires. We value our time more than money. So
yeah, exactly.
Kind of what our philosophy is on that.
Yes. So our goal has always been for us to work less, make less, need less, play more, of that
exactly.
whole idea. And the play more meaning that we're going to be looking to do things that we can, that you can do for free in a location, going to national parks to go hiking, different things like that. So what we call that is we call that our burn rate. And what our burn rate is the amount of money that we need each month to live and get by and buy clothes and pay the bills and, do things like that. So our goal has always been to really lower that burn rate so that we have more money and also more time to spend on other things. So we like to get real deep into truly what our finances are and how it works, because we feel that to kind of just tell you guys in a high level, oh, we did this, we did that, isn't necessarily helpful. So instead, we'd like to really dive in deep to truly what the numbers are. So to do that, we wanted to kind of break down what our monthly bills are. So what we have from a monthly bill perspective, meaning things that we have to pay for each and every month, is we have our Verizon hotspot that we have to pay for. And I will say sorry to those people that are new to this and are looking for internet, because we were lucky enough to get grandfathered in on an unlimited plan back, 3 or so years ago when they had those plans. So we are only paying about $75 a month for unlimited internet on our hotspot. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know
there are other plans out there now that are unlimited and affordable. So there was kind of a period in there a year ago that it got really expensive and there weren't really good options, but it's coming back around. So
yeah, so now I think people are getting more, maybe 150 or something a month for that.
Like that.
Yeah. So again, we got lucky with what we have there, but it's what it is, I guess. And then the next thing is that we put just $50 a month aside for each one of actually, we rotate our kids. So $50 a month goes to one kid, and then they won't get $50 again for another 3 months. And that's just kind of for us building a little bit of a savings. I'm going to say college plan, but I also think just kind of a savings plan for them to use. So we're just doing a very minimal amount, but at least something. And then my cell phone bill is $100 a month. And then that also has a hotspot on it. So I am able to use that as well if I'm away from the hotspot or whatever. So kind of paying a little bit more for that. We do still have a car payment. That's about $320 a month. And then we do have an RV payment. So for our RV, we're paying about $294 a month. And then we have a Thousand Trails membership, which is a membership that gets us into the Thousand Trails campgrounds for free after we bought the membership, which was $3,000 up front. And now we pay this monthly fee, which is about $47. And then we can camp for free at these locations for up to 3 weeks.
We bought a used elite plan, like $2,500. But this $50 a month monthly payment is for the yearly dues.
to keep our plan active or whatever.
Yeah. So anybody who has like a plan through them pays about the same.
Yeah, and we should do a video on Thousand Trails and what we think about that, but we can get into that next. Okay, I see like the sun's kind of reflecting a little weird. I don't know if that's better or not. Okay, so then, all right, there you go. So then the next thing is our life insurance. So we do have life insurance, and that is at $65 a month for both Craig and I to have that. And then our State Farm insurance, which is who we use for insurance for our vehicle, for the RV. And then we have like a property insurance thing, I think for like $10,000. We don't got much stuff anymore. So it's about $10,000. But so for that, we're paying between $150 and $200 a month. We're kind of making some changes on that right now. And then we have Hulu. Got to watch TV, right? So Hulu is about $12 a month, and we have Netflix too. So that's about $9 a month. Maybe it's up to $11 now. That's one of those things that it's like, yeah, if we really wanted to lower our burn rate, we wouldn't have that. But for right now, we do. And then
we upgraded the Hulu to the commercial free one, so that's why it's $12 instead of $4 or $8 or whatever.
Well worth it.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
And then Craig's cell phone is actually about $49 a month, and he uses Straight Talk, which if you are looking to lower your cell phone plan, we highly recommend Straight Talk. You do have to have a phone bought outright, but once you've done that, you're not in a contract. So it's done monthly, and we've been very happy with the service.
Yeah, it's like an AT&T, MVNO or whatever. So
whatever that means.
It works on the AT&T towers is basically what it is. So service is good, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, so that works. And then for health insurance for us, our health insurance that we pay per month right now for all 6 of us is $178. We have that plan through healthcare.gov or through the Obamacare. So not sure what that's going to be like next year, but for us, it works really well. It is only really for in-state, so in the state of Wisconsin. If we had something happen out of state, emergency room is covered. I think we have like a $300 payment we have to do, and then we're in the emergency room, things are covered. Outside of that, we don't have any coverage outside of the state of Wisconsin. So if something was to happen that meant we had to, go to continuous doctor's appointments, we would basically have to get back to Wisconsin in order to have that covered. So we, just continued with what we had there, and that was all good for us. So that is currently what we have. And the reason that it is that low, which I know for some people may be like, oh my gosh, how the heck do you have under $200 a month? What you have to put in when you go for that plan is how much you're planning on making for the year. And what we put in is $60,000, so that we're going to be making $60,000 a year. And at $60,000 a year with the subsidies that we get through the state of Wisconsin, again, if that goes away, we'll see what happens. But for us, it ends up getting us at a plan that costs about $178 a month.
It's also with 4 kids.
That's with 4 kids. So then obviously that gives us more because we have 4 kids. And then from a tax perspective, all of that stuff comes into play. But so 4 kids, a family of 6 making $60,000 a year, that's what we get for it. So that's what we have for the basics of what our bills are each month. So that comes out to be just under $1,400. That obviously ebbs and flows with, actually I shouldn't say that. The bills are pretty consistent each month of what we do. So the other things that we bring into play when we talk about traveling full-time are for our business, the tools that we need for our business, things like Dropbox, Aweber, Google Business, Tailwind for Pinterest, a variety of different things that we're paying a monthly fee for. And that really ranges between $200 to $300. Maybe sometimes it gets a little bit higher than that, but usually not much lower than that. And to be honest, for running a business, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of like 2 businesses or even 3 because I have some expenses through like the web development side of it. You have it through Virtual Powerhouse, and then we also have our blog, Crazy Family Adventure, which also has some expenses, to keep that running. So there's kind of 3 businesses baked into that.
And we try to, the same thing with that. We try to keep our burn rate low in the sense that we don't want to just buy a membership to something that we don't have to have. So if we can try to cut back and, stay with the free plan or do something that costs less, we're going to do that just to keep our business burn rate down as well. So next we have groceries, and this does include alcohol. So it does include the beer and the wine, which sometimes can cost almost more than the groceries. But again, lower burn rate, drink less. But anyways.
That's a quitter.
So our groceries are about $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Really try to keep that at 1,000, and that is mostly going pretty much all organic, at least in like the Dirty Dozen range, along with also dairy. We try to always do dairy organic. So I'm really trying to still eat healthy and keep it in that range, and we have really been able to do that.
We don't buy a lot of meat.
Yeah, that's true.
That's cost savings there. The other thing is we also try to buy in bulk the stuff that we can, which is a little bit more difficult in the smaller RV here. We have a Costco membership, but it's hard to use, to buy in bulk when you have a very small storage space for food. So we do what we can.
Yeah. And it's been hard because when we were in a house, like buying in bulk was like perfect. We had all this space, and now it's like, okay. But so we figured out, and we also eat very minimally, in the sense that like we're not making like gourmet meals with like 20 ingredients. Like most of the meals we make only have maybe, 4 or 5 ingredients total, if that. And we try to make the same things week in and week out, because then we know how to make it and what we need, and we're not having to buy a lot of different special things for the recipes that we're making. Yep. So that is groceries. And the next thing is gas. So when you travel full time, what should your gas budget be? So I have ours down at between 200 to 500 a month. So yes, there's a big variation there, but it really depends on how much we're traveling. If we're staying in one location for 3 weeks, guess what? The gas bill's a lot lower. If we're planning on going from, Jasper National Park in Canada down to Colorado, guess what? We're going to spend a whole lot more gas. But one of the benefits of having the smaller RV is that we get, 20 miles per gallon right now?
We were getting about 20 on some stretches, but averaging about 18. So that's better than our car, actually, which is pretty funny. So yeah, that's been awesome. And this is a diesel rig, so, diesel fuel is a little bit more expensive, but it goes a heck of a lot longer than our other RV did. So
yeah, so it's actually that's been a benefit. And then now when we don't have a car and just go with the RV, obviously that keeps our gas prices down as well. Then the next thing is campgrounds. So we have, like I said, our Thousand Trails membership, but we don't always like to stay there. If we did, we could basically camp for free after we pay our $47 a month. But we choose not to do that. And for campgrounds, we budget about $600 a month. There's been some months where it's been $0. There's been other months where it's been $600, and other months where it's been $200 or $300. So it kind of varies, again, depending on where we are and what we're doing, and how much money we want to put into campgrounds, or if there's a cool one that it's worth spending. We found that the average campgrounds are usually about $25 to $55 a night. On average. You can maybe find something for less than 25 that either doesn't have any hookups or just electric or just is somewhere random, kind of out of nowhere. And then we've also seen ones that are more than 55 a night that come in more at like $100 a night. Let's say if you're the resort or you're in the Florida Keys or something like that. Yeah. So that is what we do for campgrounds. Then eating out. So we do a little bit of a budget for eating out. And what that ends up being is, on our budget, I have $200. Yeah. No.
Looking at me like it's my fault.
So if a family of 6 goes out to eat at a restaurant where we're going to have a waitress and get, served or whatever, we're probably looking more like $70, $75. But if we're going to go just somewhere like Noodles or Chipotle or something like that, maybe we can, $25. So the eating out, if we're not really trying to go to like super nice restaurants or breweries or things like that, it can be at $200. But really, we probably never really hit that $200 mark, especially if we're going to new places where we want to really experience it and go out and try these new restaurants and try these new places. So we have eating out at $200, but yeah, usually go over budget. And then for our extra category, which our extra category is the category where we just have money that we're able to spend on extra things when we are places, or when we go places that we want to go out and maybe do an experience, or maybe the kids just need new clothes, or we just want to spend money on something. I just got some new essential oils, things like that. So those type of things are going to, we budget for $1,000 a month. At don't know if we've ever hit $1,000 a month or not. We may be more in the $1,500 range, but again, that's our burn rate, where if we really don't want to have, that much money in our budget, we should really look to lower that. So if anyone with kids or anyone really that, it is what it is in some sense. So part of me wants to just say $1,000, $1,500 a month is what it is, and let's just enjoy it. And then another side of me wants to be like, no, let's be more budget conscious and make that better. But
one more thing about the eating out. We also kind of build that into our grocery bill too. So yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
So if we know we're good,
budgeting.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead. What do you think?
I was going to say that if we know we're at a place where we're going to be wanting to go out to eat a couple nights a week, then we won't buy certain things that we, at the grocery store that we'd make for dinner. All right, go on.
Yeah, we may do that sometimes. Craig's been doing more of the grocery shopping, so he's. Are you trying to do that more?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is the unexpected expenses. So that is usually like if we're going to be going like a doctor's appointment we didn't expect, or a dentist thing or something like that. So I kind of have that budgeted at about $200 a month. Again, that can kind of vary, but it's about what it is.
Yeah.
So when you add all of those up, that ends up being about $5,000 to $7,000 a month that we need in order to live this lifestyle.
Now, is that including the bills, or is that?
That's including the bills.
All right, so that's everything.
That's everything, $5,000 to $7,000 a month. And what I did is I actually went back since last January, and each month I figured out what we did spend each month, and it really was right in that range. It was probably more at the $7,000 a month point, more often than it was at the $5,000. There were some months it was more there, but that is kind of really a realistic range. Now, what I will say is this isn't what it has to be to live a life of full-time travel. I think there are people that do it for much, much less. And those people that do it for less can probably do it more in that $3,000 to $4,000 range. I think there's also people that do it for more if you're looking to really stay at the nice RV resorts and, you just are someone who likes to spend more money and all of that. So yeah, it definitely, varies depending on the style of travel that you want to do.
Yeah.
Our original goal was $4,000 a month, but for us, it was almost too much of a stretch that it took some joy out of it. So we kind of got ourselves into this, $5,000 to $7,000 range, and it feels right to us. Well, $5,000 feels right to me. $7,000 feels too high.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
What would you think it should be at?
Yeah, I would say I'd like to be under 5, but it's hard with 4 kids that we also don't want to, deprive them of anything. And we do try to give them experiences, and also we'll buy them a toy here and there and stuff like that. So that's all included, and it just is what it is with a bigger family.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if that is yeah, exactly. So Lisa had mentioned there that this is your choice in comfort zone. And exactly, Lisa, that is what we feel like. This is where we've come. Comfort zone, I would maybe say that we need to push that a little bit more to get it a little bit less, but it is definitely where we have found a good spot for us. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on if we do anything different with that or what that looks like, 6 months from now. I feel like it is constantly changing.
Yeah. But we kind of know the range. So
yeah.
We know, which we'll talk about in a second, of what we have to make to cover that each month.
Yes. Yeah. So the next thing is then, okay, guys, we're like, all right, great. Well, that's what you spend, but how do you make that money? So the way that we make money each month in order to cover that $5,000 to $7,000 a month is actually 4 different ways. Yeah. So the first way is that we have our virtual powerhouse business, which is the business that we started when we were on the road. And what we do within virtual powerhouse is we do social media, blogging, email marketing, Pinterest, website design, some graphic design work for small businesses. And that business actually has continued to grow. And I have actually brought on now 3 people that are working for us to help us with serving our clients, which has been great. So that business brings in anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 a month. And with that business bringing that in, that does not take into account the expenses or paying people that are helping with the work or anything like that. So to say it's in that range, is true what's coming in, but then again, what we're paying out is going to affect what we actually get out of that. So there's that. So Virtual Powerhouse is one of them. And then the second one is our Crazy Family Adventure blog. So the Crazy Family Adventure blog that we have been working on monetizing and building out for quite a few years is now up to about $1,200 to $2,000 a month. And that money is coming from freelance writing that we're doing. It's also coming from ads that we have on our site, also some affiliate marketing, some YouTube money that we get through ads on there. Right. Yeah, ad money. Am I missing anything there? Sponsored posts now and then.
Yeah, every once in a while. Right, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so it's right about in that range. And then the next thing is that, the third thing is that Craig is still doing consulting work for the University of Wisconsin Parkside, where he used to work before we got on the road. So I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like an as-needed project basis. So I have a lot of experience with like the software and tools that they use. So it works out nicely for me because it's, some extra money. And then also I know their systems and how things work. So I hit the ground running when they have a project and they need a consultant to help with. So yeah, that's about it. And that fluctuates because sometimes they have more work for me and sometimes they don't have as much. So it kind of depends on, what's going on at the school at that time. So.
Yeah, so his range for that is about $800 to $1,600 a month or so. And then Craig also has web design work that is through Virtual Powerhouse, but was not in my total that I gave above. And that web design work fluctuates as well, depending if he has a project that month or not. So that could be anywhere from $500 to $3,000 a month that he's getting through website design work. So when you add that all up, again, kind of like our budget, it fluctuates a little bit. But what we actually do, and I don't, if you're like a Tim Ferriss, what's his name? The big guy with the finances.
Guy in a little coat.
Whatever the guy is, the big guy with the financing, that he talks about, what you should and shouldn't do. So I'm going to tell you something, and it may not be like a financially smart or whatever, but what we do is we put all of our expenses that we can, including our bills, onto a credit card each month. That gets us points for travel. So that could be for airlines, we've used it for airline tickets before, we've used it for rental cars, hotels, different things like that. Yeah. So we do put all of our expenses onto the credit card. There's a few bills that we have that can't go on the credit card that we just pay out of our bank, but the ones that we can, we put in the credit card, we get points for them, and then the next month we have to pay it off. And what we like about that is that we can obviously still keep an eye on where it's at and, tracking how much we're spending, but then basically it gives us a month to make sure we're making enough money to cover what we spent in that month. So at times I'm like, I'd rather just have the money up front and like we're spending what we already have in hand. But on the other hand, I like the idea that we kind of know what we have to work to. And then each month we figured out how to work up to that point and get there so that we can pay off what we owe. So again, I'm not any financial expert to tell you that's the way to do it or not, but having the points, like when our RV broke down a few months ago and we had to stay in a hotel for 5 nights, like we used our points for like 3 of the 5 nights, which saved us like a ton of money. So there definitely have been benefits to having it set up that way.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope though. You don't want to get used to just charging things and it's kind of like monopoly money that you don't really see. But if you can kind of learn how the game works with that, it could be an advantage.
Yeah, so we're definitely not pros at that by any means and could probably still improve in it, but it's what it is. And then you may be wondering too, like, well, what about savings or what about retirement and those type of things? So our savings account sits right around $10,000. Ideally, I would like that to be more, but I think this past year and a half or so of building this entrepreneur lifestyle and this new business kind of is what it is. We kind of needed to take some from there, and we'd like to now start getting, we were just talking the other day about getting back into the practice of putting money into savings and doing that. Yeah. And for retirement, Craig does still get a little bit through Parkside through the work he does there for retirement. I have a 401k set up from when I was working pre-kids. Craig has his set up, but we are not actively contributing to it. And again, best choice, probably not. Is there something we should do about it? Yeah, it's on our list that we want to start contributing more to it. On the other hand, we're living our retirement a little bit now. So it's kind of like that. ebb and flow of like what makes sense and what we should do. So by no means are we experts in this area that we could tell you do this, do that. We know it's going to work out perfect because we just don't. Yeah. But this is what we have figured out for ourselves to really work for the past, what has it been now? It's been a year and a half since.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, since we've become full-time entrepreneurs where Craig stopped getting a salary through Parkside. So yeah, so that is it, how we afford full-time family travel. We will be doing more postings or videos about our virtual business and how that works and how we make it all happen and all of that. But just wanted to really share with you here the numbers on how it works for us to be able to travel full-time with 6 people and a dog. And we will also include in there a note about or a link to our blog post about our budget and how we afford it. And then we have some other things on there too. We tracked it for a couple months and things like that. Yeah. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys to kind of hear from a family living life on the road, what it's like and how the finances work. And we will come to you guys next time with our next podcast on, we don't know what topic yet.
Any suggestions, leave them in the comments here on the Facebook live stream, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, perfect. All right, thanks guys for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.